Cain Marko, or the unstoppable Juggernaut, has been a significant part of the Marvel Universe since his debut in the 1960s. He is a behemoth giant clad in red armor that can crush anything and everything in his path. As one of the more interesting and multifaceted antagonists in the X-Men universe, Juggernaut has a compelling anatomy and is certainly a sight to behold. If you're new to the Marvel Universe, you will be amazed to learn about the sheer absurdity of Juggernaut's powers and abilities. So, without further ado, let's dive into every aspect of one of the toughest villains in the Marvel Universe. Before we get into our explanation, we have a small request. If you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot, so thank you very much and let's get started. Thank you. Is Juggernaut really a mutant? To answer this question, we must delve deeper into the origins of this character. Many believe that Juggernaut is a character who was born as a mutant, while his powers developed over time like most others in the Marvel Universe. However, on the contrary, his half-brother Professor X, Cain Marko, is a regular human who served in the Korean War. During this time, Cain was bombarded by enemy mortars and decided to take shelter in a nearby cave, while Xavier followed him to ensure their team did not consider him a deserter. The two discovered an ancient lost temple in the woods, and after examining this place together, Cain found the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. The gem is an ancient artifact and is considered a deity by primitive humans in the area. Xavier was smart enough to realize their existence, and even warned Cain not to touch the gem at all. Considering this warning pointless, Cain ignored the direct request and took the gem. As the people began to tremble and collapse, both of them inside it, Xavier managed to escape alive, but Cain was not so lucky, or so Xavier thought, because by touching the gem, Cain was blessed with powers given to him by Sidorak, which transformed him into the Juggernaut. With this origin story, it is clear that Cain was never a mutant gene carrier. He was an ordinary human who gained his powers through a blessing or curse from the god of forgetfulness, Sitara. In short, Juggernaut is not a mutant because his powers are mystical and he never had mutant genes in his body. It is also worth noting that if Sidorak, he wants to be able to strip away all the fabric powers and return them to being normal humans. It is also a fact that there is no technology created to change or dampen mutant powers that can work on Juggernaut. The origin or source of Juggernaut's powers has a much more interesting explanation than just having a mutant gene, which also explains why he is so strong. And related to that, let's talk a little more about the gem. What is the source of its limitless energy? Sidorak, who is also known as the Raging Storm Master or simply referred to as the Destroyer, is an extra-dimensional entity that possesses limitless and unfathomable power. He comes from the Crimson Cosmos and is worshipped as a demon god by primitive humans who both respect and fear his wrath. We see Cain Marko empowered by the gem in a lost temple because the myth of Sidorak faded over time after he was banished back to his home. The dimension of the gem Sidorak is an extraordinary artifact, and its power seems limitless. The energy that this gem can provide to its host is very strong in terms of attack, defense, resilience, and most importantly, sustainability. The engine of the wheel, this gem does not require sleep or any needs for food, drink, or even breathing, regardless of how weak its host is. We witnessed this in the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 230, where Spider-Man tricked Juggernaut into a pool of cement. This caused the slow descent of the villain into the cement while he tried to escape, but failed to do so. Juggernaut merely accepted this scenario and patiently waited for the moment to come when he could re-emerge and cause damage again. Juggernaut could survive for months without ordinary human needs because this gem granted him enough power to sustain himself and continually supply tirelessly in relation to various descriptive titles. The Juggernaut is truly unstoppable thanks to the gem that allows the Juggernaut to create an unlimited source of kinetic energy once he gains enough momentum. He is truly unstoppable when he begins to move, and only a figure like the Hulk has ever come close to slowing him down. Even then, it was far from actually stopping him completely. On one occasion, The Juggernaut kept running through an entire mountain because he was able to create enough kinetic energy through his movement. Complementing his unstoppable nature, the Juggernaut also possesses unlimited stamina, as he is not bound by the human limitations that require external means to recharge their energy. The Juggernaut indeed has no restrictions on his stamina. The energy flowing through his body thanks to the gem allows him to keep moving forever and create more energy at will. His stamina even surpasses that of the Incredible Hulk, who can fight for weeks. The Juggernaut's connection to the gem allows him to harness this energy and become almost unstoppable, capable of breaking through nearly any obstacle or enemy in his path. How does his armor aid the Juggernaut? Because of the mystical nature of the Juggernaut's power, he is not just a physical specimen of a defensive monster. The Juggernaut also has two types of armor, namely an impenetrable force field thanks to the power of Sidorak, and the second, the unbreakable armor that he wears on his body. The armor worn by Marco can be summoned at any time and is referred to as the Crimson Cosmos armor. In addition to being overkill defensively, this armor has two purposes. The first is to give the Juggernaut an extra step against characters that can penetrate the force field surrounding him, should there be anyone capable of causing him damage. The unyielding armor can protect him as long as he wants to continue. And most importantly, the Crimson Cosmos armor also has a helmet that features a skull cover. This gear protects Juggernaut from his greatest weakness, which is psychic powers. Although Juggernaut is physically insane, powerful psychics like Jean Grey or Professor X can defeat him by penetrating the limits of his mind. For that, and for extra protection, the Crimson Cosmos armor is very helpful for the unstoppable Juggernaut. How physically strong is Juggernaut? Even if we only focus on the physical aspect of Juggernaut's strength, the absurdity of how strong he is might surprise fans who have not explored the comics. By the blessing of the crystal, Juggernaut is one of the strongest physical beings across the Marvel Universe, and he can even be compared to the strongest version of Hulk. Caraco faces this monster directly, and if they can, they certainly cannot defeat it in terms of durability. Its massive fists can cause earthquakes with tremendous magnitude, and even create cracks, while its body can penetrate any obstacle once it gains momentum thanks to its incredibly insane strength and durability. The Juggernaut can withstand very powerful blows from beings like Thor with his Mjolnir, and even cosmic entities, as we witnessed in the Amazing Spider-Man issue 629. The Juggernaut can even endure the extremely high gravitational forces from the Earth's core, while also resisting bedrock. This feat requires unimaginable strength and durability, as not many can withstand such insane beatings while using their power to break through very hard rock. Juggernaut has proven time and again that in terms of pure physicality, he can go to extremes when facing opponents like Thor and Hulk. When defeating like Colossus, the thunder power he possesses is a testament to his strength, and on several occasions, the power he generates with thunder can be felt by many, greatly affecting those who become targets. The absurdity of Juggernaut's physical strength is one of the most entertaining factors about his character. Cain Marco, who has a military background and is endowed with unlimited power, is an impressive sight as he loves to engage in close combat and ultimately defeats his opponents without breaking a sweat. Does Juggernaut have healing powers? Even after being famously impervious, Juggernaut can also sometimes take a little damage or more, but let's not digress. Usually, raw physical moves or weapons cannot breach Juggernaut's defenses, but mystical or cosmic weapons can. The physical nature can especially be manifested when given by beings with great power in this scenario. Even if Juggernaut is in danger or not, the Citron Gems come quickly and immediately start healing and removing all the damage he has received. Even though its healing factor is not at the level of Deadpool or Wolverine, it is still an extraordinary ability that seems limitless. We see an example of this absurd healing power when the Demon of Despair turns Juggernaut into nothing more than a skull. From that state, the clock was able to completely regenerate Juggernaut's body back to its original form in just seconds. Okay, Juggernaut's healing ability may not be as strong as Deadpool's, but it is clearly faster and more efficient. The Juggernaut can remain in the midst of battle even after suffering massively at the hands of his opponents, and his healing factor and self-sustainability will allow him to be truly unaffected by the damage that are not lethal to him. Juggernaut can reproduce. Have you ever heard of the X-People, or the Next Ones, or even J2 and Zainyama? If not, Zainyama is the son of Cain Marko and Saitama on Earth 982, which is MC2 or Marvel Comics 2 continuity. In this timeline, Cain Marko has redefined himself as a hero and works alongside the X-Men. He started a family with his lover Sachi and even has a beautiful son. His happy life is disturbed by Nemesis, who holds Marko in a parallel reality. Meanwhile, the disappearance of Zane's father is linked to him being lost during a mission with the X-Men, because the fact that Cain must have a son who inherits his powers and idolizes superheroes, which has become Juggernaut, taking place in an alternative reality compared to Earth Prime. We will explain Juggernaut's ability to reproduce using the logic of Earth 616. Before becoming Juggernaut, Cain Marko was an ordinary human with no trace of mutant genes. After coming into contact with the Sidorak gem, Cain became the exemplar of Sidorak and the living avatar of destruction on Earth. Despite all this, Juggernaut remains a superhuman capable of engaging in normal human activities, which means Juggernaut can certainly reproduce if he wants to, and there are no biological or mystical reasons preventing him from doing so. Can Juggernaut change the size of his body? Under normal circumstances, there have been no instances where Juggernaut has grown larger, especially voluntarily. Although some of the depictions show that he has varying sizes, it does not mean that he can change his massive size at will. However, as usual, there are exceptions to this. When Juggernaut can fully harness the power of the Sidorak gem without hindrance, his absurd power is enhanced to a new level, surpassing the level of absurdity seen previously in the Juggernaut experiment. The red behemoth can change its size to become more terrifying when it can increase its height to expand if the situation demands it. A character beyond this Omega level can grow larger than a Sentinel, able to make its entire body grow along with its output of power and physical effort. The Juggernaut experiment not only gained the ability to change size, but can also track its enemies with pinpoint accuracy, manipulate matter, gain the ability to levitate, absorb damage like projectiles, and even return it, projecting energy at will and creating as well as destroying portals through space and time. If you can imagine an unstoppable human-sized killing machine, just multiply that threat by 20 and you will understand how nonsensical the Juggernaut experiment really is. At least the positive side is that infinity multiplied by 20 is still infinity, right? Can Juggernaut be defeated? Is he immortal? Unfortunately, the famously unstoppable Juggernaut is not entirely unstoppable. Even the limitless power he receives from Sidorak can be matched by others with superior limitless abilities or characters, boasting the one and only weakness of Juggernaut, which is psychic power. It can be said that, at this point, the only weakness of Juggernaut is the lack of plot armor, but in reality, the reason why he wears a large helmet on his head, despite his mystical force field protecting him from incoming damage, is that he needs to protect himself from the powerful psychics that abound in the Marvel Universe. Psychic power is a curse to Juggernaut's existence, as they can easily bypass all his defenses and raw physicality to directly attack his mental weakness. The heroes have united on several occasions to focus on removing the Juggernaut's helmet and allowing Professor X to attack him with psionic abilities. Although it is easier said than done, this method has proven successful time and again in the past, and is a tried and tested way to defeat the Juggernaut. Over time, the Behemoth has adapted to such attacks, and has tried to better prepare itself not to fall to that power. However, with the presence of very strong psychics like Professor X and Jean Grey, the Juggernaut has particular difficulty adapting. Despite having this individual weakness, the Juggernaut is nearly invulnerable in terms of endurance and needs. The Sidorak gem allows him to have no external needs in terms of energy replenishment. This is because the gem enables him to be completely self-sufficient with an unlimited energy supply, and the Juggernaut never ages, and his body seems to never fall to the limits of time. He can even survive in a vacuum, and is immune to most toxins, diseases, and radioactive elements in the universe. Cyttorak has created an incredibly powerful destroyer avatar, and due to its almost immortal nature, it has become the main pillar of Marvel's evil minions, and its torment seems to have no visible end. At a blue conclusion, it could be argued that the power of Juggernaut, as depicted in the Marvel Universe, is utterly ridiculous and is very much at the negative limits of the scale of reasonableness. Super strength, resilience, and momentum make him almost immune to physical attacks, and his ability to heal from injuries quickly seems almost unbelievable. Even his mystical energy gives him various other abilities, including powers that are usually not associated with fruit, such as energy projection, super speed, and the ability to survive in space. Pure absurdity arises in conversation when the subject is related. The strength of Juggernaut is quite fascinating. This antagonistic character is independently one of the strongest physical specimens in the Marvel Universe. Although his power is incredible in many ways, it serves as a great plot device, and the writers deserve credit for always ensuring that this character remains interesting. Juggernaut's personality and character development are a stunning sight, and he is one of the more intriguing evil brutes out there. Some fans may view Juggernaut's abilities as excessive and unrealistic, but it remains a defining part of this character and has contributed to his lasting popularity in the Marvel Universe. Honestly, that's what makes him so captivating. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. But if not, I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. We will meet again soon. Love to everyone.